Welcome to Business with Louie, the show where we explore the world of entrepreneurship and help you build the skills and knowledge you need to succeed. Today, we're going to talk about a critical concept in business: decision-making under uncertainty. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads with multiple paths stretching out before you. Each path represents a different decision, and each decision has its own set of potential outcomes. But here's the thing. You can't see very far down any of these paths, and you're not sure which one will lead to success. This is essentially what decision-making under uncertainty is all about. Decision-making under uncertainty refers to the process of making decisions when there's incomplete or uncertain information. It's a fundamental aspect of business because, let's face it, we can't predict the future with certainty. We have to make decisions based on probability, risk, and our best guesses. And that's where things can get tricky. The concept of decision-making under uncertainty has been around for a while, and it's rooted in economics and decision theory. One of the key thinkers in this area is Frank Knight, who distinguished between risk and uncertainty back in the 1920s. Risk, according to Knight, refers to situations where we can assign probabilities to different outcomes. Uncertainty, on the other hand, refers to situations where we can't even assign probabilities. So, how do we make decisions under uncertainty? Well, there are several key principles and theories that can help. One of the most important is the idea of scenario planning. This involves imagining different possible scenarios or outcomes, and then developing strategies for each one. It's a bit like creating a decision tree, where you map out all the possible paths and outcomes. Another key concept is the idea of probabilistic thinking. This involves assigning probabilities to different outcomes, even if we're not entirely sure what will happen. By doing this, we can start to quantify our uncertainty and make more informed decisions. One great case study is the story of Netflix. Back in the early 2000s, Netflix was a DVD rental company, and they were facing intense competition from Blockbuster. But instead of trying to compete head-on, Netflix decided to take a risk and pivot to streaming. This was a classic example of decision-making under uncertainty. Netflix didn't know for sure if streaming would work, but they had a hunch that it could be big. But what's interesting is that they didn't just stop at the initial decision to pivot to streaming. They continued to iterate and adapt, using data and customer feedback to refine their strategy. This is a key lesson for anyone facing uncertainty. It's not just about making one big decision, but about being willing to adjust and learn as you go. Another example of decision-making under uncertainty is the story of Amazon's acquisition of Zappos. At the time, Zappos was a successful online shoe retailer, but Amazon saw an opportunity to expand into new markets. The problem was that they didn't know for sure if the acquisition would pay off. They had to weigh the potential benefits against the risks and make a decision based on probability and uncertainty. So, what can we learn from these examples? One key takeaway is the importance of being adaptable and agile in the face of uncertainty. This means being willing to pivot or adjust your strategy as new information becomes available. It also means being open to learning from failure and using those lessons to inform future decisions. Another key lesson is the importance of scenario planning and probabilistic thinking. By imagining different possible scenarios and assigning probabilities to different outcomes, we can start to quantify our uncertainty and make more informed decisions. In terms of practical applications, there are several tools and techniques that can help you apply decision-making under uncertainty in your own business or career. One useful approach is to use decision trees or probability diagrams to visualize different possible outcomes and assign probabilities to each one. Another approach is to use scenario planning software or tools, such as wargaming or simulation modeling, to test and refine your strategies. Ultimately, the key to successful decision-making under uncertainty is to be aware of your own biases and limitations, and to be willing to adapt and learn in response to new information. It's also essential to have a clear understanding of your goals and values as these will guide your decision-making and help you stay focused on what matters most. As the entrepreneur and investor Peter Thiel once said, "The future is inherently uncertain, and the only way to navigate it is to be willing to take risks and experiment." This is a great mindset to have when facing uncertainty, because it acknowledges that we can't predict the future with certainty. But by being adaptable, agile, and open to learning, we can increase our chances of success. That's it for today's Business with Lewis. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes on entrepreneurship and business. Thanks for listening.